I'm Lee, the Afternoon Admiral. Here with me, we've got the Lord Magnate himself, Alexander Cron.
Hey, how's it going?
We've also got our resident, rune smiter now, I guess, Hayden.
Yeah! Stop. Oh, don't give me that, Chip.
What is this?
It's the Dwarves.
Baby.
We're all stunted, right? We're all stunties. It doesn't matter. Stop being such a racist.
Put some clothes on.
Put some...
Strap on a balloon.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about competitive list building because we didn't finish it last time we started talking about it, so it makes sense to finish it off.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
We didn't cover much after you went last time, Alex. We basically talked about battalions, and that was it.
Yeah, I don't have the tactical acumen that you have, and the steely German efficiency. So yeah.
Wasn't last time about the a short one about the warband?
Oh yeah, but so I did that one.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that.
But I didn't really want to talk about list building on my own because it's just like my random opinion then, as opposed to several
fair enough.
I don't have the credentials you do, Alex. I haven't gone and nearly won CanCon, so
emphasis being on nearly one.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Well, I haven't got a nearly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, as a warning to the listeners, I'm currently looking after my toddler, so if you hear random screams and yelling, that's probably why.
Yeah.
Hey, son.
Yeah, we're sure you've got no one kidnapped in your basement back there.
Yeah, no. My partner's having a lie-in. We're watching the child. And the dog.
You could give him a paintbrush and some models, he'd be fine.
Oh no! This child would smash it all and eat it. He's a destructive child.
Well,
but he's a good boy, really. Anyway, so shall we go into a little bit of news before we get on to the main topic?
Yeah. I guess the biggest bit of news for KO is the warband.
Yeah. So from what I've heard, in the Shadespire sort of stuff. What is that noise?
Someone's vibrating.
Oh right.
Oh yeah, that was my alarm.
I'm not vibrating. Oh god damn it!
My alarm.
All right.
I'm awake. I'm up.
And it's good to have you here, Alex. So from what I've heard, the warband in regards to Underworlds itself is actually pretty good. Just the sheer weight of firepower that comes from them, and also just the way they inspire as well is pretty good.
How do they inspire?
I'm looking forward to getting them. I don't remember off the top of my head. My sister's the Underworlds expert, so I have to ask her. But
right.
I believe it's if somebody captures an objective.
That makes sense. In the gold.
Yeah. And they get certain buffs and stuff like that. I'm not too sure, but I'll look into it.
Yeah,
but I'm definitely going to get them. They're really cool dudes. I want to play them as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I think alternate sculpts.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
I mean, I picked them up last weekend.
Yep.
I haven't started painting them yet, and to be honest, I'm not in any rush because I've already got 2 chemists, and I've really tried to think about how to add them to an army and make them work.
No, buddy.
I was trying to break the rules of the game and everything. I was trying to figure out whether I could take them as an under-strength unit, and there isn't really any way that makes them better than a normal chemist and 5 thunders.
Yeah. It's sad, but,
I mean, Alex, did you see the message I sent you about putting them into your list?
Oh, no.
It was the other day.
Bran.
But then me and Dan had a massive discussion in our group chat, so you probably just missed it.
Yeah.
But basically, I think that is the only place they might be able to work is if you dropped your 14 Thunderers down to 10 and replace that chemist with Thunderic properties. It wouldn't necessarily be more offensive, but it'd be a bit better, defensively because you'd have a bit more melee power. I think offensively it works out roughly the same math-wise.
Yeah.
All right.
Because obviously you lose like some chemist buffed rifle shot, and then that the Thunder in there has obviously got 4 shots and he's got +1 to hit. So it's not that bad. But you kind of have like that extra unit so they can sort of protect the chemist if you want to.
Yeah.
And it can maybe give your opponents a bit more to think about because they've already got that horrible decision of like trying to decide to, charge your big blob of Arcanauts and the Evocators or the Thunderers. And then there's also the problem of it's not easy to kill that chemist either.
I guess you can kind of MSU with them. That's true.
Yeah.
Just put a couple more threats out in the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
More ground.
But, I mean, it would be like a sideways step in your list, I think, rather than a way of like. I don't think it would improve the list.
Yeah.
And I don't think it works if you put it in.
Guys.
Sorry, I didn't catch
To be
that.
fair, I'm not even looking at those things in any competitive sense. I'm not actually looking at that unit at all. I mean, it just doesn't really offer that much to the whole thing.
Oh no! I mean, I was just literally the last week trying my hardest to see if I could make them competitive in some way, and that was the best I could come up with was a sideways step in Alex's list. I couldn't think of anything building around them or anything really.
Although someone made a good point in the Facebook group. If you buy 5 of those boxes, you get some savings out of it.
Oh yeah, yeah. The trouble is you end up with 5 chemists, which is like if you're starting KO from scratch, that's probably quite good. Like you can maybe
Hey, you can have 6. You can have 6 leaders in your army. Technically.
Yeah.
5 chemists.
It might be good in Urbaz. You play in Urbaz, that's a lot of buffs. But,
well, if, for that time, you want to give your Arcanauts bonuses to their shooting and their melee and their pistol. All at the same time.
Yeah. And actually, I don't know if you guys have ever tried it, but in a couple of games I have at times buffed the Arcanauts cutters.
Oh, the cutters, really?
Yeah, just the only time I really remember doing it was against zombies. So it's just like, wow, even if I get something through, they're not going to save it because obviously you've got no render or anything on them. But it was just like, I think it was just like I had a spare chemist buff and I had enough models in combat that it was like, wow. Yeah, if you've got a big unit, buffing the pistols can be pretty good.
Yeah, when they get too close and you just you don't need the Ren from the Skyhawks, just buff the pistols, shoot out 60 shots.
Get something like Nighthaunt.
Brian.
Yeah,
or
definitely
like
Nighthaunt.
Ethereal amulet person, like a zombie dragon.
Ghost dragons, yeah.
Yeah, buffing pistols not bad.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So to recap, we basically went last time. We went through which units we thought were good and bad. We now added on the new unit, which we're basically saying they're bad.
Yeah.
We kind of went through battalions. So do you want to? Should we start going through?
No, sir. No, sir. We must first say that Fire Slayers won a major tournament. Woo-hoo! Yeah. The Bris Vegas Open, right?
Okay.
Oh, really? Here in Australia?
Yeah, man. In Australia, Fire Slayer was list one. Apparently, it was a dude taking Fire Slayers who went to CanCon. And apparently, he just took out a tournament. His list is pretty cool. for those of you who are Fire Slayer inclined. My son is currently saying no to me as he's closing the door on my face. But no, yeah. So because I suppose that later on we could go into discussing allies and how Fire Slayers can insert into a KO list and vice versa. Because I suppose that.
And he's gone.
Hello?
He's gone. Am I gone?
I don't know.
Oh, no, with you. Well, now the Fire Slayers out of the way.
Yeah. Oh, we have someone in the chat
Yay!
saying that the key for the warband is looking
the
for damage
Fireflies are back.
This is for Underworlds, by the way. Yeah, so Mauricio is saying in the chat that the key is damage cards, more movement, and then they can somehow nerfing the opponent's movement or attacks.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really understand how Underworlds work. I played it once. I will.
It's actually a really good game. I highly recommend it.
Yeah. I'm
It is
trying
real
to
fun.
get my girlfriend to get her own warband, and then if I get some time, I will give it a try. Now I've got a warband.
Yeah, give it a try. Most definitely.
One time I played it, so
I played season 1 a lot, but I kind of stopped after season 2.
Yeah.
So apart from Fire Slayers win British Vegas Open, and also the fact that I'm saving up to get some. So that's my next army is Fire Slayers. They're the most expensive army in the world, but I'm going to save up and get them.
Are they?
Well, they must be cheaper now, surely, because you don't have to take a whole horde of them anymore, do you?
From New Zealand, you're still looking at about $1,200.
Well, isn't every army in New Zealand expensive?
Yeah, but that's still a lot compared to everything else. I mean, you need at least you need at least 30 half-guard berserkers to be competitive at the moment, at least from what I've seen. And they come in boxes of 5.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you need like 6 boxes of them. Like literally, I think you'd be spending like $500 or something like that on on 30 Volkites. Oh, sorry, not 30 Volkites, 30 half-guard.
Yeah. But they all look the same, though, don't they? So can't you just like they all look the same? They're all on the same base. So can't you just like if you can modify the weapon somehow?
I mean they've been talking about it, but then again, 10 Volkites is $115 New Zealand.
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is not even an exaggeration.
Do you know the tournament winning list? Was it just all half guard?
No, so it was a Rune Father on Magmadroth. They were all under Vostag. He had a Rune Smiter on Magmadroth as well, which I thought was interesting. I believe he had a second Rune Smiter on foot, and he had a Rune Master, a Rune Smith, or a Battlesmith, sorry, 30 half-guard berserkers, 2 units of 10 Volkites, and it was all in the Lords of the Lodge battalion.
Yeah.
So none of the invocations, the cool thingies. Yeah, none of those was a still thing. Well, because honestly, those Aurukar half-guard, when they're all buffed up, they can do some work, man. Like, it's out the gate, the stuff they can do.
And they're durable as well. Like, you
Very
can
durable.
get them to like a 2-up save with a 4+ after save. So
it's pretty disgusting.
And Vorstag is the one. Is Vorstag the one that gives you all the movement as well?
Yeah. So, pretty much automatically running 10 inches in your first turn, all that stuff. It's gross.
Yeah.
And I plan to run something along those lines. But yeah, so essentially that list won Bris Vegas Open, I believe it was.
So the whole army's fast then? Real fast?
No, not really fast, but fast enough. I mean, what you need to do is just, at least from what I gather, is that you need to be able. It's kind of like how we used to run the clown car.
Yeah.
You have to hit them hard and fast first turn.
Right.
That's at least what I gather. I haven't had any experience with them yet, so I can't really say. But that's at least what I think.
You think that's not enough to survive Gristlegore? You think they're tough
Pardon me?
enough to survive Gristlegore?
I think Hearthguard Berserkers could easily take him out. It's just whether or not they stay alive for long enough is the question.
Mm.
I mean, I've never seen Gristlegore in action.
They've got a mortal wound save.
Hmm?
So, I mean, they've got a mortal wound save. So, that's
well, that's what you got to be careful with. As whether or not you position your heroes enough, to keep your guys within 10 so they can get that +2 to their ward save. Mm.
Yeah.
You're
But
right,
I mean, I played against Gristlegore last night, and that when they get a 6, and that's a flat 6 mortal wounds, and if you save half of them, or if you get a bit lucky and you get save 5 or whatever, then that makes a big difference. Because I mean, it does a lot. I mean, the Gristlegore terrorize thing can do a lot of damage, but it gets 6s. It's got it just suddenly just skyrockets to ridiculous damage.
Yeah,
and so having some protection against that is really good. And don't they have some way of fighting fire first as well?
I'm sorry.
They have a thing. Fire Slayers in the new book. They have they've entered the activation wars, haven't they? They've got some methods to fight.
Oh
first.
yes. There's a something that lets them fight in the hero phase and stuff like that. It's all fucked up. I haven't actually had a proper look. I've been reading the lore mostly at the moment. Yeah. So I'm currently.
But I mean that stuff like that helps in Gristlegore, because against Gristlegore, doesn't it? It's getting to the point now where you kind of need to have some method to fight first in the combat phase, or else you just don't even get to fight first in your turn, do you?
And that's my concern with competitive Age of Sigmar at the moment. Actually, is there's all this out of turn sequencing and stuff like that, and guys having an hour and a half in their. Sorry about that, son. It's all right. But it's guys taking an hour and a half to go through their first hero phase. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah, that's kind of something I'm getting concerned with.
I think Gristlegore's going to be less of an issue now that Slaanesh is here. I don't think we're going to see it as much.
Yeah, Slaanesh is going to be interesting.
Slaanesh seems to be a huge counter against Gristlegore. It's a lot of heroes don't get to fight first. Heroes get -1 to hit. Heroes and monsters are easier to hit, and they hit their own side, and it's all about debuffing big hero monsters.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be very bad for KO. Very bad for KO.
Slaanesh? You think?
Well, they're fast.
They can smash people to pieces. They've got dick nipples.
They don't actually have any shooting defense. All their defense is in combat. You can shoot them just as you shoot anything else.
Their dick nipples can shoot things.
And just like anything else, they're going to have linchpins, aren't they? They're always going to have something that if you take it out, it's going to be more than the sum of its parts if you take it out. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You kill that thing, it doesn't just kill that thing, it makes something else weaker.
I don't think they have any negatives to hit in shooting. So you won't have, Kharadron's daughters where you just can't hit anything.
Yeah. But obviously they have lookout, sir, but yeah.
Oh, they're that,
everyone has that, so
keep the secrets,
it's just a thing now, isn't it? No. Yeah.
Keep the secrets and monsters.
Yeah, it's always handy when people it's actually in some ways almost better when people have those sort of bigger heroes for us to shoot at.
Yeah.
Right, is there any more news before we turn this into the Fire Slayers, the Fire Slayers podcast?
Yeah.
I played a small tournament recently.
Yeah.
Did you? How'd you do?
That was just 1,200 points. Took 2 ironclads. Shot a whole bunch of stuff.
Why?
Actually fought some Gristlegore. Killed all their dragons, but then the ghouls overwhelmed me.
Wait, guys are actually taking ghouls with the ghoul?
Well, the Gristlegore summoned the ghouls.
Yeah. Like, do they summon any? Do they summon ghouls then, not flayers?
Yes.
Because the guy I played against last night, he summoned flayers. Because obviously they've got like a 10-inch range shooting attack, so you summon them and they go 9 inch away from you, but then they can shoot you.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do a disgusting amount of water wounds.
I mean, I think it was also partially based on the models he had, because his ghouls were already on the table.
He summoned mostly ghouls, couple flayers, but mostly ghouls.
Because that summoning mechanic is that's nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they can't abuse it that much. With like they can't like keep doing it over and over again. But the fact that it's pretty much anywhere on the table. I mean, it's within so many inches of a board edge. But that's normally pretty good.
It's basically just giving you this huge discount on the heroes because you're buying the heroes and 3 players or hero and 20 ghouls.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's basically a teleport as well, because you bring them down anywhere on the table you want within 6 inches of a board edge. So it's like it's free movement rather than like, because like say if like for instance if you compare it to Sylvaneth and they can bring on like Marathi can not Marathi Alariel can bring on she can bring on 20 dryads or a tree lord or something, but they've got to be within so many inches of her. And the branch thingy, I always get the 2 different branch heroes mixed up, but the one that casts the 7, it can bring on some dryads. They have to be within so many inches of the hero casting it. But with the Gristlegore, they're just they're bringing them on, and they can go on the opposite side of the table.
Yeah.
So you can, even if you manage to position where like keep away from their big fighting things, so you can shoot them, and then they summon something to your side of the table.
Yep.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it's nasty.
So, how'd the tournament go?
Oh, well, I took 2 ironclads, so not great. But it was just a 12 on a point thing.
Yeah.
Why would you take them in a 1200-point game?
Because I made a list and I figured out that I could. It fits. Just.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Got nothing else.
Well, at least you have 2 ironclads. I'll give you that.
They buff each other. They fly around the board. They toot their horns. Great.
So what hero? What do you have? A navigator or a engine master or a or an admiral?
Oh, never the admiral. No, I took the engine master.
Yeah.
Try to do a bit of combat with him.
Nope.
Yeah.
No. Yep. Sorry.
Well, when you've got 2 ironclads, like he can actually does help with them a bit, I guess.
Yeah, he fixes them a little.
Not much.
And then
but
2 squads of 10 Arcanauts, and that was it.
Yeah. Okay.
I think this was more of a beer and pretzels tournament.
Yeah.
The next big one I'm gonna go to is in June.
Yeah. I've got a doubles tournament at the end of this month. Well, I was playing last night a practice game.
Oh yeah.
Potentially might go to there's a Essex GT in July, I think.
Ooh.
Which will be fun because that'll be my first. It's a new tournament and it'll be my first ever sort of big tournament that I travel to. So,
that'd be cool.
Yeah.
It's not too
down
far
here in New Zealand.
So at
the end of May, there's Notorious GT.
Mm-hmm.
And at the moment, it's got 50 players. So it's officially the largest Age of Sigmar event in New Zealand ever. So.
Oh,
oh.
that's cool. Are you going?
No. No, I've got other commitments.
You could be 51.
I could have been, but sadly, family commitments. Got to do some traveling.
Yeah.
Got to look after my boy.
Family comes first.
Yep.
Eh?
Family comes first.
Family comes first, indeed.
So list building.
Yeah. Let's crack on. Right. Should we preface this by saying we're not going to talk about Zon because it's rubbish?
I don't think we need to talk about Zon.
No.
No, we definitely talk about Zon.
Should we start with Zilfin? Because then we can maybe talk about a little bit how it got nerfed.
Yep. I'm sorry to say, guys, but I actually have to go now. So I'll leave you guys to it. I hope you guys have a wonderful time talking. It's time for me to go and be a dad.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
All right, see you around, buddy. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Just us.
Yeah, just us. We only need us. We don't need any fire slayers.
We don't need fire slayers. This is a Kharadron podcast.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about Zilfin at the moment? Because I assume you're pretty pro Zilfin since you were playing them at CanCon.
Well, they are my favorite. Yeah, they're still really good. The meta still loves its big flying units, so Zilfin is getting buffs against most important things.
As Gristlegore shows, big flying stuff.
Yep. Yeah, I think this. You can always be happy when you see Gristlegore because you're gonna kill those dragons.
Yeah.
If you put all your fire into them.
Yeah. I mean, I was doing some math the other day to compare it, and actually, if you're shooting those big dragons or anything else where you get your +1 to hit on the Arcanauts, if you got reroll ones, it's pretty much comparable. Like I was comparing it to Mornar with the reroll hits, and I think if you got your +1 to hit, it actually works out slightly better. The reroll ones does once you got your +1 to hit.
Yeah. Although Mornar gets the +1 hit as well.
No, but I mean, even after taking into account if you take into account the +1 to hit and the Mornar rerolls to hit, and then you take into account the +1 to hit and then the reroll ones, it actually works out more efficient once you've got the +1 to hit. Like if you're hitting on your 4s, then the reroll hits becomes better. But when you're hitting on the 3, it becomes marginally better, I think, to math wise. So it's actually because I've always just assumed that the reroll hits was better, as in just against one unit, like it's a stronger buff. But actually, when I double checked it, it's actually in some situations better to have the reroll ones. And then obviously,
and you get it against just everything.
Yeah, like the Mornar thing is against one unit, isn't it? So one target.
Yeah. And I realize in your chemist, your general as well.
Yeah.
Not saying it's bad.
On having it always have to be a chemist, but you have to have a general that obviously, and you have to be 3 inches from your general. So
yeah, not saying it's bad. I probably prefer the Zilfin.
Well, I'm coming back around to Zilfin now because basically when the new rules come out, I think like a lot of people, I sort of moved away from Zilfin.
Yeah, when the late FAQ happened.
Yeah, because there was the nerf, and there's the nerf to that with the FAQ, and then then there's also like total commitment was added, and I was like, well, you can't use it in straight away. There's a battle plan there where it's your backup plan of like, oh well, you can then just like you can't use the hero phase move on the ship, but then you can drop from the sky still. But then you're still in total commitment, you can't do that. So I sort of moved away from it, and then because there was the changes to the command abilities. So it made Mornar a bit better, so I moved in that way. But I'm coming back around to Zilfin now, I think.
Yeah. So the nerf that happened with Zilfin was the moving the ship in the hero phase, then getting out, giving your Endrin riggers a huge buff in movement, I think.
Yeah. Well, that was. I mean, it was great when we had it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's how most people were playing it.
And now, which actually I think gave you a better chance at charging than when you deep struck the ship down.
Oh yeah, because you could be 3 inches away, effectively, if you had. I mean, it depends whether you use grapnels or not and stuff, and the battle plan or whatever. But even without grapnels, you could be 3 inches away, I think, on a 24-inch. You basically got 4 inches when you disembarked.
So the ship moves 10, then you disembark 3, then you move 12, and that's 25 inches of movement right there.
Yeah. But, when you disembark 4 because you get your whole base as well. Like you only have to have a millimeter of that base within 3 inches, and the 30 more base, so you basically disembark 4. But
now you've got to
get most
disembark before you do that move.
Yeah. But it's not good.
The ability to just deep strike your boat and a unit or two wherever you want it to, I think is really powerful and kind of necessary in this current meta where the objectives, you need to have board control.
I guess the other slight issue is duality of death. So in that one, it's the one where heroes and behemoths. There's 2 objectives in the middle.
Yeah.
It only be scored by heroes and objective and a bit behemoths, which you'd think would be good with us because we've got behemoths and obviously we're very good at shooting heroes. But because you can't. Pardon?
We've got tough behemoths that can appear wherever.
But you can't set up on those objectives. Well, you can, but if you set up, you don't gain control. You only gain control of them when you move onto them.
All right.
So that's another little thing where where Zilfin doesn't necessarily shine so much.
That's a good point.
But I mean, it depends. It depends. Like, if you get the pack for the tournament, like some tournaments announce what the battle plans are going to be beforehand.
Yeah, most will.
Pack, like some don't. Some will just they probably know what they're going to do, but they don't tell you until the day. Or some will even just look random when they. But quite a few sort of pre-announce it. And if you get a pack and you see that those 2 battle plans aren't in it, then Zilfin is a very, very good bet and just clown car it up. But it's not. That's not the only way to play Zilfin, obviously, because that's not how you play it.
No, I think the clown car's better more as a distraction rather than your main damaging force.
Yeah,
I feel if you have a clown car and you put everything into it, if that clown car fails, you've got nothing else to help you. Like if that clown car fails, you've lost.
Yeah. I guess the way to make it successful, and the way I think Gary plays it, because he's probably sort of like the master of the clown car, isn't he? And he basically sort of invented it. Is he puts it on the enemy's flank, somewhere where it's basically you kill the stuff that's close, and then they slowly come towards you piece by piece, and you always sort of kill whatever is coming towards you on that turn.
Yeah,
because obviously, like if it's on a what I call like a standard deployment where the board's basically divided in half lengthways.
Yeah,
like all that stuff would be lined up like across that 72 inches, and you just plonk it on a flank, kill that stuff, and then everything's actually got a long way to come towards you. And then it's obviously a bit different on some of the other deployments. Probably doesn't work so well on the lengthways ones.
I guess you can set up your battle line basically wherever on the board.
Yeah. Well, you probably put them on objectives. So, but do you want to unpack or just talk about the way you play your list a bit? Because that's Sylvan. So.
Oh, all right. Well, I've got my I do have a bit of a clown car with the 14 Thunderers, but then I've also got the main battle line of 40 Arcanauts and then some dirty Stormcast as well.
Yeah.
Bring in some Evocator allies. They're good screening unit. They're good.
I think they're very important in your list.
Yeah. They give me the magic dispel, and they do. They're a threat, so they're something that the enemy has to concentrate on. Otherwise, they're gonna do a lot of damage. So it takes attention away from the 40 Arcanauts and from the Thunderers. And unlike the 40 Arcanauts and Thunderers, the Stormcast can actually take some punishment. They won't just instantly die if something touches them.
How do you feel, say, if you played that list against Crystal Gore and then say staff, they pile in? Because it's at some Terrorgeist piles in and attacks twice. That probably will kill those evocators.
Yeah, it will. I think against Crystal Gore, you got to really. The back line needs to be.
It still won't get onto your Arcanaut, so will it? Is the key.
Yeah. I think you got to just put the Arcanauts. Make sure those Arcanauts are far enough away from the front of the Stormcast space so that the thing can't pile in and attack the Arcanauts if it manages to wipe out the Stormcast in one round.
Yeah, it's got to be more than 6 inches, hasn't it? Because it's got pile in 3 inches, and it's also got a 3-inch range attack. So,
and usually I've got the small Arcanaut squads in front of the Stormcast.
Yeah.
So it's got to eat those as well before it gets anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, and if it's like a 24-inch deployment, it probably will have to charge them.
Yep.
It's quite handy that they're on a big base as well, that they can't just get a massive charge. They can't
just jump in between your lines. Yeah. And you can deploy far back enough so that there's a chance you might not get charged.
Yeah.
Basically once they've charged you and they've finished mauling your line, you just open fire with the 40 Arcanauts and all their pistols. They've only got a 4-up save, then a 5-up after save and a 6-up after save, but just shoot them down. Use all your bonuses, shoot them down. Thunderers coming out the back, killing the ghoul general on his throne, who's probably going to be at the back there.
Yeah, and if you can do that, like, say if you do take first turn, you can do that, then there's one unit they're not summoning in.
Yeah.
So,
against I wouldn't take first turn.
No, I mean, often it depends on how they deploy and the battle plan, doesn't it? But you play for the double turn probably, wouldn't you?
I deal with whatever they summon. Just deal with that when it comes. But the priority is just take out those dragons and go second, because you don't want those things to get a double turn. It's okay if I don't get a double turn as long as they don't get a double turn.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing that I think works really well in your list, and after I sort of realised how it worked and sort of unpacked it, and you sort of explained it to me when we were discussing it in the past, which I don't think many people sort of realise. I mean, some people obviously will have done, but I think there's a lot of people that just think, oh yeah, it's the dropping the Thunderous is really powerful, and that's really, and then having the Arcanauts is really good. But I don't think people fully understand the decisions that it forces your opponents to make.
Yeah.
So, like, because
it splits their force.
Pardon?
It splits their force.
Yeah. Well, it's not just that, but assuming they can only go and kill one thing, or well, even if they can't only go and kill one thing, like they can only attack one thing first. So even if they charge the Thunderers and they also charge your big castle that you set up, they've got to choose something to attack first. And because you've got those evocators in there, it creates an awkward situation for them because they want to attack the Thunderers, because if they don't attack the Thunderers, they retreat.
Yeah.
But if they attack the Thunderers, then what happens?
Then the evocator is going to punch you.
Evocators pile in an attack, do some mortal wounds at the end of their attacks. And you don't want to be hit by the evocators.
Yeah, kind of puts the enemy in a no-win situation.
Yeah, which is whenever you sort of put your opponent in a situation where they have to start second guessing their decisions or that sort of thing, then you're probably onto a winner because there's a good chance they make the wrong decision.
Yeah.
And so I think that's like the evocators are probably the star component of your list there.
Because they really add stuff, yeah.
Because I think a lot of people then after you did well in the tournament, they started doing similar lists. And
I've seen a lot of
they weren't
around.
Yeah. But they weren't putting in that unit to protect the 40 Arcanauts. That thing that could fight back. So basically, it was an easy decision for their opponent, because their opponent would just go, right, I'll attack the Thunderers first, and the Arcanauts aren't going to do anything in combat. So they didn't mind. It's like if you don't have those evocators, then that decision just goes away because the Arcanauts won't do much in combat. I mean, you could replace evocators with a different unit that can fight well in combat.
Yeah, I think as Hayden's looking at Fire Slayers, obviously, to replace them.
Yeah, they would work.
Evocators don't just give you combat; they give you magic. They let you participate in the magic phase.
Yeah.
And they're perfectly 400 points as well.
Yeah, for now.
For now, yeah. You have it in the next General's Handbook.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when you look at stuff like that, but then you look at stuff like Skaven. When you compare them to stuff like Skaven, they're not that cheap.
No.
When they first come out, it's like, yeah, they're really efficient. But they're not so much.
Everything's
There's other stuff makes them look a bit normal now.
Yeah. Hopefully, by the time the new General's Handbook comes around, we'll get a new book and we won't need evocators.
Yeah, hopefully. Sneeze and Bob in the chat is just saying that a lot of the new armies that are coming out require clumping up units and heroes and stuff in one location to get their bonuses. So any list you run that splits your opponent's forces is a strong thing. It's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, get some of the enemy units outside of the buff range of their main heroes.
Yeah.
Start picking them off if possible. Yeah, it's all about, I think, forcing your opponent to make bad choices. It's what we can do.
Yeah, it's something I never used to consider that much in lists, but now it's one of my first sort of after how you have like that initial idea for a list, and then you sort of write it, and then you sort of go through this stage that can actually probably take 10 times as long, where you refine the last couple of 100 points or whatever, and you start thinking about artifacts and that. Like one of the things that I really start thinking about a lot earlier now is just what decisions is it going to force my opponent to make decisions, or is it an easy decision for them?
Hmm. With the clown car, like it's all your eggs in one basket. Your opponent is going to charge that, and that is all they need to do.
But on the other hand, if they're charging that, they're not charging your objectives on the other side of the table.
Yeah, but would you have anything on those objectives if you have a clown car?
Yeah, because you'd have. Well, it depends on the battle plan, but you'd have at very least one unit of Arcanauts, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would.
I think the way Gary's playing his now, he has the Knight Encounter, so that would sit on one probably, wouldn't it? Or behind. I don't know.
Right, yeah, because he's too big to fit in the boat.
Yeah, too tall. Too tall to fit there, but there's no headroom. They need to just stick a bit of pipe insulation foam above the doorways and stuff, so if they bang the head there.
Just loses a mortal wound every time he goes in and out of that boat.
Yeah. So yeah, it's nice. But it makes sure the thing with the clown car is it makes your opponent make decisions at a different stage in the game. Like it forces them to second guess their deployment. Rather than they start spreading out and stuff, thinking, "Oh God, what if it drops over here? What if it drops over there?" They start putting units in weird places just to,
to stop it,
block off an area of space where the ship could land and stuff.
Yeah, and I guess then he also had that extra level of psychological warfare where he just deployed the boat on the table.
Yeah, with Fleet Master. Yeah.
Put it back in reserve with Fleet Master, so just psyching him out even more, making him think what's going on, what's happening. Yeah.
Okay, so
it was effective. It was effective. He won four out of 5 games.
I mean it still is effective. It's not as effective as it was in AOS 1, I don't think, but it is still effective. But I think if you get a tournament pack and you see that there's total commitment, my first thought would be, shit, maybe I won't take Clown Car then.
Because that just kind of...
Or even if you see there's duality of death as well, because you can't set up on an objective. Or even, worst case scenario, there's going to be both.
I don't think I've seen duality of death recently. They use 3 places of power a lot more.
Yeah, well, I think it's probably a better battle plan in some ways for it, because it's you can't just sort of take one and then just hold that one and then that's it, basically. Because you can with duality death in some ways. If you can kill, you only have to take one and then you can kill the enemy's heroes and you're fine. I mean, the having that third objective, I think, sort of makes it a bit more interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah, and sadly it's based off of wizards and such, which is it's hard.
Yeah, well, that one isn't. That one is heroes and behemoths, isn't it? Are you saying 3 places of power is? Sorry, which one?
3 places of power is
wizards. Death.
But so do you want to talk about the other skyports?
Yeah, let's quickly go through them all before we then start talking about actual lists and the units.
There are 4 others.
Yeah. So I guess the next logical one to talk about is probably Monar, because I mentioned, I went away from Zilfin for a bit. So, and then that was because basically when AS2 come out, the new command abilities, to automatically run 6 inches, that really helped Monar. Because before it's if you roll a run, that's pretty shit first hand ability, isn't it?
Yeah, but now you can guarantee the 10-inch move with your dwarves or 18-inch move with your sky Endon riggers.
Yeah, and just the fact that Brock could start use his command ability without being your general as well.
Yeah,
really, it's a big help.
Gives you that really nice, nasty unit of running, shooting, and charging Endon riggers.
Yeah, it's nasty.
So they're going to be wherever you want them to be.
Yeah, I mean, because I played that a fair bit since Heroes 2 come out.
Yeah.
When I say a fair bit, I mean that's basically what I have played. I don't play a huge amount of games compared to some people, but that's what I've been playing. I tried it in several different sort of configurations, and basically the conclusion I come to was you still have to have grapnel launchers, because if you are going to try an alpha strike with those riggers, all that movement isn't enough in some of the battle plans, depending on how your opponent deploys. Like even in a normal battle plan, if your opponent deploys far enough back, then it doesn't work. I mean, then you can if your low drops, you can make them go first, but
you can use those grapnel launchers to make sure you get to the heroes at the very back.
Yeah, so
squishy things.
Yeah, even if you're you can go forwards. The good thing about the grapnel launch, the running and shooting, is that you can get your pistols into range of nice targets, because the pistols do a surprising amount of work on those riggers. So, I mean, they're just really good for like a melee unit, which is essentially what they are. These pistols are
very powerful melee unit, decent shooting.
Yeah, I mean, like if you don't have the grapnel, or even if you do have the grapnels, but you've got like a unit of 12, you've got 27 shots, 27 attacks in shooting. Is pretty. And they hit threes, so that's pretty good. And they have rend. It's only one rend, but still rend.
I think the problem with them is they are a bit squishy.
Yeah.
So if they get caught out and your opponent charges them, the Endon riggers are going to die.
Yeah.
In all 12 of them, just poof.
Yeah. But even if you don't, like, sometimes your opponent will just deploy in a way where there's nothing you can charge, where by the time you kill one thing, other stuff won't pile in attack in your turn, and then kill them anyway. The same way, the same thing you do. Like the same thing you do with your list, where you have the evocators behind the first screen of Arcanauts. I mean, it's not a perfect example because I could maybe just shoot the Arcanauts or whatever, but if someone deploys 3 monsters next to each other, or then basically they'll be able to go in and kill one, but then they just get the other two will pile in or whatever, or the other one will pile in, and then they're dead, and you've lost 480 points or 360 points in your first turn.
I guess you really need to be careful where you charge. Use the maneuverability to charge the monster on a flank, and I don't know, maybe use Brock to tie up the one in the middle. Brock can die. He's not so important.
Yeah, he's surprisingly good. Like, I never used to rate him in AOS 1, and
he was something points back then.
He costs more. He's a bit cheaper now, and he's just gone up in my estimation. And now that I've started using him, he has this ability where he can go into, say, I don't know, like a unit of 40 skeletons, and then he'd be alive a couple of turns later. Or whereas if you did that with your riggers, they wouldn't be. So he can go in and he can... Pardon?
He's a tough little dwarf.
Yeah, he can attack second is the key thing. Against some, not against everything, because he's only 8 wounds.
Yeah.
But if you want if you want to stop something else walking across the board towards you, and it's not that killy, but you don't want it, but it's killy enough to kill your Arcanauts, because everything's killy enough to kill your Arcanauts, then that's pretty handy. And because if you send them in Neo Riggers, then you've got hero Neo Riggers. So if you do have to make them Battle Shock immune, or if you want to use a commander point on them for something later on in the game, it's pretty handy. But with Monar, the conclusion I come to was like you still need the grapnels, and then the ship is quite nice because it gives you that extra 4-inch movement from the disembark.
Yep.
But then when you're running and shooting, charging anyway, and then you've also got your grapnels, it's like, do you need that 4-inch movement? And then it's
4 inches.
It starts
4 inches here or there doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, it sometimes starts feeling like you're overkilling on movement a bit. And then a lot of the times I was finding like, I wanted like one more unit, I could have that if I took a ship out. Maybe I think you almost have to you can almost sort of choose between Brock or a ship.
Yeah, I'd say Brock's more useful. I think he just does more. The ship doesn't do anything. The ship has almost no firepower, and Brock, Brock can do 12 wounds. He's a good dwarf.
Yeah, and his command ability late game can be potentially quite handy as well. Just because you can keep him alive. Yeah, if you can keep him alive, you can like. I mean, even because it basically then all of a sudden lets you get potentially an extra 12-inch move, or not an extra 12, like depending on how many command points you've got or whatever, you could, your opponent will think, well, they're not going to get a charge off from where they are, but they're also like, if they run, they can't get close enough to that objective. But if you combine it with the 6-inch automatic run, then
you can surprise them a little.
It's almost like +6 to charge, isn't it? You sacrifice your shooting for +6 to charge, and that can get you onto an objective potentially. It's quite good. But the other thing with Monar was the battalion points changed when AOS2 came out, didn't they?
They've got cheaper.
Yeah. And the frigate changed in price. So the combined price changes of the frigate and the Iron Sky Squadron suddenly made that viable.
Are you thinking about taking Iron Sky?
Well, I'm not thinking about actually doing it now. I think I've gone full circle where like when AOS 2 first came out, I thought, oh yeah, I might try that, but first of all, I didn't have a frigate at that point. I had an ironclad because I was playing Cannonquire before. So I had to build and paint a frigate. And by the time now I finished that frigate, I've gone through enough processes of thinking that I've gone from thinking, oh, actually, I don't need the battalion, to then thinking, actually, now I might even have a ship at all.
Yeah.
But it's
bad. Our coolest models almost never see the table.
But that battalion synergizes quite nicely with Monar, because
you can get the cannons in range and then get 2 cannon shots per boat.
And all the Arcanauts that disembark from those ships can run and can reroll their run rolls, which when you're running shooting might save you a command point.
Reroll their charge rolls.
I think they reroll run and charge rolls.
All right.
But yeah, they can definitely reroll their run rolls on the turn that they disembark from the ships.
Okay.
So if you do that in first turn, which you probably will, then they're running and shooting, and they can reroll the run roll. So it might save you a command point. If you get you want to get your skyhooks into range on something or get them onto an objective.
But that battalion also sticks you with 2 frigates.
Yeah. The thing that I was initially thinking about it was because they, as you said a minute ago, like they get two shots, and they can potentially be re-rolling the hit rolls. In the first turn, they might do you a fair bit of damage. Obviously, they won't do that damage later on, but your opponent will go, "Oh, they did quite a lot of damage," and then. So my thinking was they might be like, "Oh, let's focus on them," which, if they focus on your frigates, is a good thing.
Yeah, it's not good for anything else.
But I think most opponents that are worth their salt will probably just know, actually, the ships aren't good, and ignore them.
Yeah, well, if we keep talking about how bad they are, someone's eventually going to hear. I mean, no, guys, frigates are amazing. Always focus them down first.
And
it will wreck your army.
If you have flying units, then charge them with big units of flying models.
Yeah, that's their weak. Getting charged by Nighthorn. They hate that.
So yeah, I mean, Monar has basically the possibilities of doing a strong Alpha Strike list. It's got some defensive toolkit as well, because it basically allows you, because you can guarantee that 10-inch move with your Arkanauts. It basically means you can deploy them further back than you would normally.
Oh yeah, and then get into range.
And then it basically just means that you can it's kind of safer to give the first turn away.
Yep.
And then obviously you still got that threat. So the opponent is like, well, if you can almost do it like the opponent's like, well, I'm not in their threat range now, but if I move forwards, I'll move into it. But they got to come forwards to us eventually, or else we'll just shoot them all day.
It turns your 28-inch threat range into a 34-inch threat range, which is significant.
Yeah, there's not much to hide from, really.
No.
But obviously terrain and trees that block line of sight.
That's still an F.
Yeah, but every army bringing their own terrain piece now basically means that any small hero can hide wherever they want.
Yeah. Well, it means we can choose where our prospector's terrain goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Once
you just got to choose it before the game.
Yeah. Oh, you just got to remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yesterday I played a game of using Prospector, and what Alex is referring to is I forgot to actually select a terrain piece because it's my first time using Prospector in ages. I just forgot, and I realised halfway through the game that I hadn't selected a terrain piece. So if you are going to take Prospector, don't do that.
There was gold somewhere, not on that battlefield.
Well, the thing was, because it was practicing a doubles list with my mate that was playing Silverleaf, and the idea was I would choose his trees, but he put his trees down, and then our opponents won the roll off, and they chose the side of the table that had his trees on.
Huh.
And I was like, and then I just kind of threw us a bit. I think we had sort of planned like where the trees were, but it wasn't. But then because the trees weren't on my side of the table, and then I wasn't thinking about where I was putting my models near trees. I just completely forgot about it.
Well, do the trees? Does the terrain, your own terrain, come down before deployment zones are done?
It depends on your army. So I think Silverleaf is the only one that works like that. Now, because they're probably getting a new book within the next month or two, aren't they?
Yeah, they will.
But yeah, they do it before you choose sides. Everyone else does it after territories are being selected, but before you start deployment.
All right.
So they're the only. In some ways, it's good for them because they can put them because we're currently with other armies having multiple terrain pieces. Like if both players have got terrain pieces, then you roll off to see who can put a terrain piece down first. I think.
Yeah.
But Sylvaneth, like if you're going against Sylvaneth, if you can put a terrain piece down before them, you can potentially really stop them from putting them in their trees in very useful places because they can take up a lot of space, can't they?
All right, but with this rule, they will always have their trees down first.
Yeah, they always have them down, but then they might not have them where they want them if your opponent wins the roll off and then chooses that side of the table.
Yeah,
I mean it's pros and cons because obviously then they can teleport into those trees. So
yeah. All right. So
just go off the Sylvaneth sidetrack. Go back to KO.
Back to KO. So Yellow Skyport. Barrack Nah.
Yeah. I don't think there's a competitive build there really. It's got some useful tools with the fact that you can compete in the magic phase to a degree.
A lot. But you can't compete as we used to with that 3d6 deny. That was nice.
Yeah. I mean, when you say we used to, I mean that didn't actually last very long at all, did it?
No, and it's a bit annoying because it's in the book. So in our tactics section of the Kharadron Overlords battle tome, they're like, "Hey, did you know if you do this combo, you can get a 3d6 deny, like 4 times in one turn?" And then the first FAQ, they go, "Yeah, nah."
Yeah. I mean, the thing is as well, like, I guess when we come out, that was very powerful. But now we consider like a Night Encounter. I mean, the Night Encounter only once per game, but it can just flatten behind. And you see how like the magic phase has become a lot more powerful. It's like compare it to the stuff Skaven can do, and it's not that silly, is it?
Yeah.
And it's the same with other stuff that got nerfed. I mean, it wouldn't probably get nerfed by today's standards.
No.
But one thing about NAR is the Battleshock community.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's potentially useful. I think you could build a strong gun line with Barrack NAR because everything's Battleshock immune if it's close enough to your general, and you can build this thing that can deny a lot of magic, and you can just put a lot of Arcanauts on the board. You could put like several big units of Arcanauts on the board that are all Battleshock immune, and then put a couple of chemists and stuff that are also unbinding spells.
Yeah, you just have to find a way to get rerolls elsewhere, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be very offensive. Like it doesn't. They've got that. I think that's the trouble. Is there's nothing to make the army more offensively powerful in that Skyport.
Yeah. It's a bit lackluster.
And it can't dispel endless spells. So
no, because that requires spell slots, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The casting attempt.
Yeah.
So what else is there? Barrack, the chemist one.
Urbaz. The chemist one. That's what I was playing last night. Urbaz has legs. Little stumpy dwarf legs.
Yeah.
It's the chemist, like choosing 2 units with the chemist is good. The extra artifact is good because there's now battle plans where you need to have a hero with an artifact of power.
Yep. 3 places of power on that.
The artifact you can put on the ironclad, I don't think is anything special.
Not really. It's a bit of extra damage, but last word is better.
Yeah, I think with Urbaz, you can kind of take it in 2 directions. You don't have many chemists, or you have 1 or 2 chemists like you normally would, but you just spread those buffs further. Or you really go full hog on those chemists, and you buy a load of Fundrix Profiteers, and you take a lot, and then you just buff lots of small units.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think most people
you can MSU pretty well with it.
Yeah. Because what it will give you, because you don't have to choose. A lot of the time, unless you put several chemists into your list, most people probably have 2.
Yeah.
But unless you, a lot of the time, say you'll have like a shooting unit you want to buff, or maybe 2 shooting units you want to buff, and then you also have some riggers or something else, and then whenever you want to use those riggers, you have to sacrifice the buff on the shooting unit for a turn, don't you? Whereas with Urbaz, you don't have that issue. You can just buff all your toys at once.
Yep. Yeah, and that you can even buff a unit twice with those with the chemists. Can't you? Like, not the same weapon, but you could buff their pistols and their harpoons.
Yeah, you can, but not with the same chemist.
No?
No, because it says you pick another unit. So
all right.
So that, like, if you have 2 chemists, like Chemist A can buff Unit A and Unit B, and then Chemist B can buff Unit A and Unit B, but Chemist A can't buff Unit A's weapon type 1 and Unit A's weapon type B at the same time, because it says pick another unit.
Okay.
Which is, the problem I sort of had when I played last night, because I was playing Urbaz then. Once I lost my screening unit on I had a big block of Arkanauts, and I had a screening unit, and I had some riggers, and I only had 1 chemist, and basically it meant that I could buff the riggers and the big block of Arkanauts at the same time, or I could buff the skyhooks in the screening unit if I wanted. But once I'd lost the riggers, or the riggers were actually out of range because they'd sort of gone off to kill something. Once I lost the screening unit, he could only. I mean, he could still buff himself, but +1 attack on 3d6 attacks isn't much. Like,
no,
because he couldn't buff them. That 1 chemist can't buff the skyhooks and the pistols is a bit of a shame.
Yeah,
Just the fact that it says it's another unit rather than pick 2 units rather than 1. Or
I've had chemists buff themselves in when there's literally nothing else left, but it doesn't do it doesn't make a difference really.
Yeah, you do it because you can, and you've got nothing else to do, but it doesn't have an impact, does it?
No.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you can buff his melee attack and you turn him into Fundrick. Fundrick has 3 attacks.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, just wait. One day, someone's going to buff the gun butts of an Arcanaut squad.
Yeah.
Ether charged gun butts.
Well, some people are speculating that Games Workshop are going to be doing that anyway, because the gun butts have in Fundrick's Profiteers, the gun butts have 2 attacks.
Huh.
And like all the other guys in the unit have got like the hero stats for melee attacks. They've got the Skywarders have got 3 attacks. So people are sort of theorizing that not necessarily all of our units, but some of our units will basically just get more attacks in melee or a buff to melee.
I mean, that would be interesting. I don't see why we would need that, but Sure.
Well, I think it's just to make us a bit more rounded, because the trouble is with shooting is they can't just suddenly make our shooting more powerful, because it's just there's this fine line between the shooting not being powerful enough, and then all of a sudden it's just like you're tabling armies turn one.
When you started getting the 40k.
Yeah. And so there's that really fine line. And the problem is, actually, at the moment, is we end up crumbling once we get into combat, especially stuff like the Arcanauts. So, I mean, they've got two routes. They either make them more survivable. They could do like a fire size where they give them 2 wounds, or they could make them, if they just make them a bit better in combat, then actually it's like you become a bit more survivable just by the fact that your enemy ends up having less attacks because you hit back a bit harder, and so you don't sort of lose everything then, because you just fight a bit more once it becomes a war of attrition.
Yeah, but yeah, we do need some more attacks, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, we're getting a bit sidetracked.
All right. So the next Skyport.
Before we go on, I do want to mention the footnote for Urbaz.
Yeah.
Because we didn't mention it for Mornar either, but Mornar's is you can pile in an attack or charge in the hero phase, and Urbaz is you can shoot in the hero phase, or pile in attack, and they are both good abilities. They're very useful abilities. I've used the Mornar one in the past to good effect, where I've given my opponent the first turn, they charge into my screen, and then I piled in my riggers in their turn, and then in my turn I've chemist buffed the riggers, and then attacked them in the hero phase, and they're thinking, oh yeah, great, his riggers are in combat, because that means they're not coming across the board and they're tied up for a couple of turns. But no, because then they pile an attack in my hero phase and then they move afterwards.
Because what they just piled an attack died, yeah.
So then they pile an attack, kill the finish off the opponent's unit. And so that's really good. The Urbaz one is good as well. It's a shame you have to be within 3 inches of an enemy unit to use the shooting.
Yeah. It used to be AOS 1. It was you can get your Ironclad to shoot 3 times using Urbaz and a Lord Ordinator in the shooting phase, in the hero phase.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never really considered it much using it on a ship.
Yeah,
I've always just gone for Arcanauts, 40 units or 30 or 40 Arcanauts, and get them to shoot in the hero phase.
Usually, when the Arcanauts get into combat, there's not enough left to shoot in the hero phase.
No, I mean, hopefully you've got skyhooks in combat left. Sorry, but I mean, at the very least, you can actually use it in some ways. You can actually play the same thing that I just said about with Manar. You can actually play for it in Urbaz, where you have a screening unit. You put those Arcanauts, so they are so that once they pile into attack into your screening unit, they just about drag your big blob of Arcanauts into combat.
Yep.
So then that basically just means that then when it's then your turn, you shoot in the hero phase to kill that unit, because they're probably thinking, oh, yeah, great. That Arcanaut unit's not going to be shooting anything in their turn other than that unit, and then next thing you know, you've shot that unit, and there is no unit, and then you get to shoot again. But what it does mean is you end up losing your screening unit if you do that. You haven't got a screening unit for the rest of the game. But it's a handy thing because people will try and tie up your Arcanaut units to stop them shooting, and so that's quite handy.
Yeah, there's tactics behind it. You can do things with it.
It ignores some of the modifiers to shooting as well, because some of them happen in the shooting phase, the Nurgle thingies that are -2 to hit.
I was that only in the shooting phase.
Yeah, so those guys. I mean, most things have moved now to like, oh, it's -2 to hit to missile weapons or something, so it doesn't work. But I can't remember what they're called. I don't know. They've got some sort of disease-based name, haven't they? But they're -1 to hit in combat and -2 in shooting. And yeah, but it literally says in the shooting phase. So if you come up against, that's quite a handy little ability. But you've got to be in combat with them, which is the shame. Like, I mean, Stormcast have an ability to. And that's a command ability. To shoot in the to shoot. So why can't we? Why do we have to be in combat to do that?
Maybe we will get something like that in our next book.
Maybe.
We can only hope.
But it's a tool. It's another useful tool that Urbans has.
Yeah.
So what did you want to move on to next?
So I think the next thing the next Skyport is just Thring, isn't it? The Grudges one.
We're not going to talk about Zon, are we? Because Zon is rubbish. So
what is Zon? There is no Zon. There are only 5 Skyports. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Thring's okay. I don't think I would say it's competitive.
Not really.
But I mean, I think it's good enough that a really skilled, like a good player could do well in a tournament with it, just by virtue. Because actually, to be honest, to do well at a tournament, it mostly comes down to the player anyway. Like, I mean, some of it is luck with matchups and stuff.
Definitely, but no, that player skill is is the main thing. Yeah. AOS is still in a place where the list is almost secondary. List is very important, but
there are some armies are getting to that point now where sort of like most people could do it once they've been sort of told, oh, you do this buff, and this buff. Like, I think Crystal Core is getting towards that point where it can, you can always sleepwalk it.
You can put it on autopilot and it still works out.
But yeah, I mean, I think Thring it's at that power level where it's not as good as Mornar or Zilfin. I don't know, maybe not even as good as Urbaz, but it's, if you get the reroll ones can be quite good.
If you get 3 units with your Grudges, Book of Grudges, that means you can basically select all of the enemy's good units, and your whole army is going to get rerolls to hit against all their important stuff.
Yeah. And your opponent knows that as well. So it does have that mind game effect as well. So where they're like, oh, do I move this unit forward or that unit forwards? And like, well, this one they've got a buff against, so maybe I shouldn't move it forwards, but actually it's a good unit. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's very dependent on that first roll.
Yeah, it is. And you can't use their once per game reroll to reroll that roll.
Exactly.
Because it's out of phase.
Yeah, it's just like as soon as you start reading, like when you first get the battle table, you start reading that, and you think, "Oh yeah, they can re-roll it," and then you go, "Oh no, they can't."
Yeah,
it looks like it was intended for them to re-roll it, but then it doesn't let them. I don't know.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, they're okay. They're not competitive.
No, yeah, I think they're competitive maybe 1,000 points. Because
could be
if you get like that D3 enemy units is a more significant amount of your opponent's army at 1,000 points.
Yeah, even if you get 2, the enemy won't have more than 2 big units at 1,000 points.
And I mean, it's the same with Mornar. Like that 1 unit per turn is more effective in a 1,000 point game than it is in a 2,000 point game, because it's a bigger proportion of your opponent's army you're probably likely to be targeting.
Yeah, they're one Death Star as opposed to their 3 Death Stars.
Yeah, it's one of these things that I don't think Games Workshop consider when they write the rules for armies and stuff. That I think they just write everything based on the idea that people will be paying 2,000 points. I mean, even the battle plans are done that way, aren't they? They're done based on a 6. They give you rules for like, oh, if you want to play a 1,000-point game, you do this. But they suggest playing a 1,000-point game on a 4x4 table. But then they give you battle plans that are rectangular.
Yep, and some of them
one of the things
was.
That was one of the things I put in the community survey. I was like, why don't you give a square battle plan?
Yeah,
I know you can sort of amalgamate them yourselves and change them.
Some of them work pretty well.
Some of them just don't work that way.
No, some of them
physically can't. You can't.
Have you tried playing Relocation Orb on a 4x4? It's horrible.
And just there's just like there's nuances within like where objectives are, and as soon as people start messing with things and saying like it changes that completely. Like in Duality of Death, you have to your deployment zone isn't the full width of the table. It's so many inches in. Well, on a 4x4, your deployment zone becomes tiny. Because it's like you like rather than losing like a third of the board, you lose half the board or something, and it's just ridiculous. But so I don't think they consider that, and it's the same with things like Gristlegore. And I don't know. I'm sorry to keep bringing it up, but it's fresh in my mind because I played it last night.
Yeah, the PTSD is real.
Yeah, well, their summoning ability, like it's limited. Like each hero can only do it once per game. But if they got and they can have less heroes in a 1,000-point game, but summoning those units is a higher proportion in a 1,000-point game than it is in a 2,000-point game. So a lot of the times where they have these fixed figures, it's kind of obvious that they're designed for 2,000 points.
2,000.
And I don't know. I mean, maybe D3 isn't strong enough actually for Fring, and it should be a higher number. But at 1,000 points, it becomes much better.
Yeah. I think we should start wrapping it up. We've probably gone. I think we've gone on for about 2 hours now.
Yeah. Do you want to call it a day?
Yeah. So we've gone over the Skyports and some how we think Zilfin and Mornar work.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to try and come back at some point and maybe talk about some. Maybe we prepare some lists to talk about.
We'll talk about allies with Admiral Hayden.
And talk about allies as well. Yeah, and by that point, we will Fire Slayer's FAQ as well.
Yep.
Because we haven't had that yet, have we? So
no, there haven't been enough yet.
Slash going to be out, and because there's a new army every couple of weeks at the moment.
Yeah, Sylvaneth next.
Yeah, Sylvaneth.
And
maybe after
Sylvaneth,
who knows?
Hopefully, some dwarves, some flying dwarves.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah. So it's a big topic, so we'll have to pick this up another time, won't we? But,
yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go to bed then. And I guess you're gonna have breakfast or something.
Yeah. Finally.
Okay. All right. Well, have a good one, mate.
Dwarven Steel.
Right. See you, mate.
See ya.
Bye.